Today we're diving into lands that don't tap for mana. That's right, they won't help you cast your spells, but they will give you an effect that will remain on the battlefield without having to pay for it. These cards have an amazing effect that will stick around, giving you advantage without actually providing for mana. I will review all the lands that don't tap for mana, tell you why you should play them and in what kind of decks these cards go. Make sure to stick around until the end. I'll tell which card this series is my favorite and also which one is the most expensive ever printed. Before we jump in, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel and keeps you up to date with the latest deck tech, gameplay and tutorial videos like this one. First off, we have combat tricks in Arena, Sorrow's Path and Oasis. Arena is a pretty old card, as you'll see most of these cards are. It says pay 3 and tap it, tap target creature you control and target creature of an opponent's choice he or she controls. Each of those creatures deal damage equal to its power to the other. So if you have a creature that is more powerful than another, you have a fight effect basically for 3 mana that you can do for as long as this game takes. Sorrow's Path has a pretty long line of text, which says choose 2 target blocking creatures an opponent controls. If each of those creatures could block all creatures the other is blocking, remove both of them from combat. Each one then blocks all creatures the other was blocking. Whenever it becomes tapped, it deals 2 damage to you and each creature you control. So basically you can Uno reverse 2 blockers. It doesn't have to be in your combat step, it can also be in one of the others. That's the great thing about Commander, but it does deal 2 damage to you and each creature you control. So of course the combat trick is really powerful, but also in a aristocrat or sacrifice deck, sometimes you just need a way out to get rid of all your creatures. So let's say you have a Blood Artist and all of your opponents are just at a few life points. You need a way to kill all your creatures whenever it fits you. This will do it. And finally Oasis, tap to prevent 1 damage to any creature. Pretty easy, I probably won't run it. Second, we have defensive lands that will probably do more damage in your control deck. You might have heard of this one. Glacial Chasm has a cumulative upkeep of paying 2 life. When it comes into play, sacrifice a land. It also says creatures you control can't attack and prevent all damage that will be dealt to you. All your opponent's creatures can attack, your creatures can't attack and you can't be dealt damage by creatures. So basically you're saying, guys, I'm not doing anything for a couple of turns. Wake me up when I'm almost dead, then I will untap again and basically swing out, probably winning the game if there wasn't a board wipe yet. So this game is really good when you are behind or just at a stalemate when you can't finish yet. It basically gives you a couple of turns to get all your resources together and sacrifice it when you have enough to finish the board. I really like this one. I think it doesn't see enough play. Also, I think land destruction doesn't see enough play, so it will probably stick around. Make sure you won't lose at the very least. Island of Wak Wak or Wak Wak, who knows. The name alone wants me to play this card because I can just say every turn cycle I will tap the Island of Wak Wak and the table will be laughing. It says the power of target creature with flying becomes 0 until the end of turn. So this one is quite political as well. If there is a huge flyer, you can just say don't attack me and you don't even have to tap it. If they do come at you, at least one of the flyers will do no damage. Ice Flow has a similar effect. It says you may choose not to untap Ice Flow during your untap step. I can tap target creature without flying that's attacking you. It doesn't untap during its controller untap step as long as Ice Flow remains tapped. Well, it's not the same at all, but it does let you politic really well. So whenever a creature without flying attacks you, you can just say, are you sure? Because I will never untap this land again. And your creature will never untap as well. Is it really worth attacking me, you think? You might reconsider. Pretty close to Glacial Chasm we have Halls of Mist. It also has a cumulative upkeep. This one says pay 1 mana. And also no creature can attack if it attacked during its controller's last turn. So you can swing out, get this one on the board, and then all the creatures that attack last turn can't attack you. And of course your other opponents as well. So this one is a little bit of a politics element too. Also, you can just play it to defend yourself. You'll see that these defensive lands don't really make the game go faster, so you might want to keep that in mind, but it really helps you out if you're either playing control or if you're just behind already and need something to give you a little bit of time. And the last defensive card you will probably know, it is Maze of Ith. Of course, it says tap, untap target attacking creature, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to and dealt by that creature this turn. So basically you just remove it from combat. You can either do it to one of your creatures that needs to attack anyway but doesn't want to die, or just for an opponent's creature that you don't want to do damage to you. Also the politics element, because if they only have one really strong creature and they do want to swing in, they will not attack you but the other opponents, since they know they will not do damage to you. Then we have a couple of utility lands that do give a lot of value but only in specific decks. The first one you have probably heard of, it is Bazaar of Baghdad. It says tap, draw 2 cards, then discard 3 cards. If you haven't heard of it, well, that's because it doesn't see a lot of play. The name is quite legendary, but I am yet to see one hit the board, simply because it is at least $1,500. I don't want to pay that amount of dollars just to see one card, and so doesn't the table, but it is legal in Commander, so you might see it. And of course, if you don't mind proxying a really expensive card, you can just print it, play it, because the effect is really fun. I mean, it doesn't give you card advantage, it actually gives you card disadvantage. And well, since it is in this series, it doesn't give you mana, so it requires quite a setup. But cards that really want things in graveyard will love this card, because discarding 3 cards early on can really give you a lot of card value, card advantage in things like Izzet that wants to get sorceries in graveyards, in cards like Hogak that wants to have a lot of cards in the graveyards. Well, there are endless themes in Commander that wants to see things at graveyards, so you might want to give this one a try. A card that is pretty old as well, but isn't really expensive, is called Safe Haven. You can pay 2, tap it to remove target creature you control from the game. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice Safe Haven. If you do, return each card removed from the game with Safe Haven to play under its owner's control. You need 2 mana and this one, so you would usually say it is 3 mana, only to protect 1 creature. Well, let's be honest, that's not that good of a rate in Commander, but it is repeatable. So if you do play a lot of board wipes, or if you play a blink deck and have a lot of mana but don't have blink effects in your hand at the moment, you can use Safe Haven for a couple of turns, play the earlier board wipe, wait for your upkeep to get them all back. There's not a lot of lands that do this, so I really do like this one. And the final card on the list is Diamond Valley. You can tap it to sacrifice a creature and you will gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness. Green sees a lot of play, and with green come endless amounts of high toughness creatures. So you might be wondering, well, this is actually a good card. This is neat, I will play this. Why haven't I seen it hit the board? Well, that's an easy one actually, because it is $500. I do have an honorable mentions card, because this card doesn't tap for mana as well, but it does give you a lot of mana in the right deck. It has seen a lot of competitive play, and you might want to try it out if you play colorless. Do you know which card it is yet? It is, of course, Eye of Ugin. It says colorless Eldrazi spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. I can also pay 7 and tap it to search your library for a colorless creature card, reveal it and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So playing a colorless Eldrazi spell actually gives you 2 mana, and you can do it multiple times a turn, so it can save you 6, 8, 10, whatever the amount of mana. Now my favorite card is a card that actually sees a lot of play. It is a card in the best land combo there is out there. Of course, I'm talking about the 2020 Merit Leish in Dark Depths. Dark Depth enters the battlefield with 10 ice counters on it. You can pay 3 to remove an ice counter from Dark Depths. When it has no ice counters, sacrifice it. If you do, create Merit-Lage. To cheat this 2020 flying indestructible creature, you need another land that can come as a copy of the Dark Depths. For example, Vesuva. You may have Vesuva enter the battlefield tapped as a copy of any land on the battlefield. Dark Depths is legendary, so you will have to sacrifice the Dark Depths. So basically you're down 2 cards, but you will have a 2020 flying indestructible. Who cares about the 2 cards disadvantage at that point? So playing lands that do not tap for mana is of course a bit of a risk. What if you needed the land, you get this one and you miss your land drop? Well, you do not want that. So either you play it in a control deck that doesn't require a whole lot of mana, or you play it in a landfall deck that makes sure to hit all their lands and can also tutor these kind of lands when in a bit of a pickle. This way it actually adds for some utility without having to miss these land drops. And also if you do play it in a control deck, make sure that you have a lot of card advantage, so you will hit most of your land drops. Because if you are hitting your land drops until like, let's say 6 or 7 mana, only getting down 1 land that doesn't tap for mana usually doesn't set you back, and the value it gives can turn around your game. So it is a bit of a high risk, high reward situation, but one that you will gladly take because you like to make commander decks that have a little bit of spice and a little bit of creativity. That's why you're watching this video, of course. So these are all the lands that do not tap for mana. I think this is a very funny card design by WotC, including these cards, and I think you should try them out in your commander deck as well. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this list, go check out the link I dropped in the description below. It is to MTG Fandom on all the utility lands that are out there, not just the lands that don't tap for mana. It is a pretty cool list to scroll through if you're making your new commander deck. If you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe so you'll see our next videos. For now, I will thank you for your time and see you until the next one.